Okay, imagine this. You look in the mirror, maybe brushing your teeth, and you see a stranger. Not a bad stranger, just someone you don't quite recognize. There's no big dramatic moment, just this quiet, kind of unsettling feeling. That's what happened to Adrienne. Her face was thinner, sharper. Her eyes seemed, I don't know, older and newer all at once. She knew it was her, logically, but she told Dan Hollis, I didn't feel like I belonged to her. So today, we're doing a deep dive into something often missed: the psychological journey that happens with big body changes, especially with new things like semaglutide. We're looking at personal notes and Dan Hollis's teachings on weight loss.
Right. And our mission really is to unpack this idea Dan Hollis calls identity lag
Hmm.
and explore how you navigate that whole process of becoming after the physical stuff, the clearing has happened.
Yeah, the real work that starts when the scale isn't the main thing anymore.
Exactly. Because the physical part, while huge, is often just the start. The inside shifts too, and that's where Dan's insights are so valuable.
Okay, so let's get back to Adrienne. She's 53, hadn't taken a full body picture in like 12 years, had those gold jeans tucked away, lots of hesitation. Semaglutide was working. Appetite down, knees better, clothes fitting differently. Whispering, she said, not screaming. But that morning, that stranger in the mirror, it didn't feel like winning. It felt, well, she said it felt like she was disappearing. How did this connect to Dan's ideas?
Oh, this is textbook Dan Hollis. This is exactly where he brings in identity lag. He's got this quote, it's powerful. Your body can change faster than your story. And when that happens, the soul gets confused.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's profound because, I mean, that's not on any medical chart, right?
Yeah.
You won't find that on your tracking app.
Right, and we always hear about how hard it is to lose the weight, the discipline, the struggle. But Dan suggests the real crisis, the really tough part, might actually come after the weight is gone. Can you unpack that a bit, this post-loss crisis?
Yeah, it's a really key distinction. Most people brace themselves for the difficulty of, changing eating habits, exercising more.
Hmm.
But the real challenge often pops up when the intense hunger quiets down, when those old rituals may be food for comfort or just habit when they dissolve,
Hmm.
when that sort of psychological armor you've carried just drops
Hmm.
and you're left standing there. Physically different, yes, but often feeling like you don't even recognize yourself. Adrienne wasn't really mourning the pounds.
Hmm.
She was mourning the version of herself who carried them. The one who knew how to work a room with a joke or which sweater hid what or how to make apologies sound casual. She was good at being that person.
She knew how to operate.
Exactly. Now she's this body in transition, but her mind, her internal map, it hasn't caught up yet.
So, with Adrian feeling so lost, how did Dan Hollis approach that? What did he do?
Well, crucially, he didn't rush in with easy answers or platitudes. None of the, oh, but you look great, or you should be so proud. He just listened. Really listened. He said he listened like a mirror that doesn't ask questions, only returns what you're ready to see.
That's powerful.
It is. And he told her, the weight loss is just the clearing. The becoming takes longer. And that right there, that was the starting point for their real work. Not about pounds anymore. It was about language,
Oh.
about her inner story.
Okay, that's fascinating. The becoming takes longer. And you said the work shifted to language, to rewriting the names of things. How did that actually work? What did it mean for her?
It was about taking these core ideas she had about herself, her past, and sort of reframing them. So, for instance, the shame she felt about past eating habits, that became memory, something observable, not a judgment.
Yeah.
Her intense drive for control over food transformed into curiosity. What does my body actually need right now? Her strict discipline shifted towards alignment, finding what felt right for this new self.
So less force, more flow.
Kind of, yeah. Week by week, she started to, inhabit her new physical self. Not by filling it with old food patterns or fear, but with permission. Permission to be awkward, to not have all the answers yet. Permission to build a new story without having to totally trash the old one.
Mm-hmm.
And the mirror itself didn't change, obviously, but how she met her reflection did. She stopped flinching, didn't quite smile, not yet, but she could stand there longer. And Dave would say, that's huge. That's progress.
Yeah.
So if your reflection has ever felt more like a stranger, you're definitely not alone. You're just in that part of the story, where you learn how to belong to yourself again.
That really does shift the whole frame on what success even means here. Okay, let's dig into this more. Dan Hollis didn't just focus on the body stuff, the calories, the GLP-1s. He talked about listening to the silence. What's that about?
Right. And this is really transformative, especially if you've lived with food as a source of comfort, or maybe just constant background noise in your head.
Yeah.
You understand how weirdly jarring it can be when that internal chatter suddenly goes quiet, which semaglutide can definitely trigger.
Yeah, the food noise people talk about.
Exactly. And Dan's teaching is about, okay, what do you do with that quiet, that newfound silence?
Hmm.
He taught, the real work begins when the cravings stop. That's when the truth shows up.
That really brings up a big question then. If it's not just about willpower, what is it about? Because so many people, especially starting medication, think, okay, now I just need more willpower. How did Dan tackle that common idea?
He'd really push back on willpower being the main event. He saw it almost as a distraction sometimes. He was honest about why people often struggle long-term or maybe regain weight. It's usually not because the medication failed.
Hmm.
It's because nobody helped them rewrite those deep-seated rituals, the stories that basically form their identity around food and their body. He taught that ultimately, weight loss isn't about hitting a number. It's about building a life, a whole system, where food isn't your only coping tool, or even the main one.
Right.
He reframed it. He'd say, you didn't lose control, you lost connection. To your hunger, yeah, but also to your purpose, to yourself. That's what we help you rebuild.
So semaglutide, it's not the magic bullet, but maybe more like a powerful tool,
Yeah.
a way to create some breathing room.
Precisely. A catalyst, maybe?
Yeah.
He framed it exactly like that.
Yeah.
Not the solution, but a pause, a breather, a reset button. And in that pause, in that space it creates, you actually get the chance, maybe for the very first time, to design a new way of operating. He always stressed that fast results aren't the same as lasting results.
Yeah.
And crucially, the scale.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't measure self-trust. That's built differently.
Yeah.
And he'd warn, if you don't actively plan for life with or after semaglutide using that space wisely, then your old patterns, they'll plan it for you.
That makes sense. He also had a really direct take on the whole is using medication cheating idea, didn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Very direct. He had this quote, semaglutide isn't cheating, it's adaptation. The real cheat is pretending willpower was enough all along.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it really highlights that every pound lost, every physical change means an old habit needs to be consciously replaced or transformed, not just, eliminated with willpower. Biology, the medication, it might give you a great head start, clear the path a bit, but it's aligning with a new sense of self, a new identity that keeps you moving forward in a sustainable way.
Right.
You don't hang on to weight loss just through gritted teeth discipline, he believed. You sustain it through genuine self-alignment.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk about something universal in any change process. Setbacks, hiccups, bumps in the road.
Mhm.
Before understanding Dan Hollis's view, I think many of us assume a setback means game over, start again, or that if you stumble, it means you're just flawed, broken somehow. What was Dan's angle on this?
Yeah, he really didn't frame it as failure at all. He had another great line. Most people don't relapse into hunger. They relapse into confusion.
Confusion. Interesting.
Isn't it? What's so insightful there is that he taught setbacks are actually predictable. They're not something to be ashamed of. They're just moments when your body and your brain are trying to figure things out, testing the new normal, trying to recalibrate. They aren't signs you're lazy or weak. They're signals that you're human, navigating something complex.
He used that analogy, right? Not a straight line up, but more like a spiral staircase.
Exactly. You might feel like you're going in circles sometimes, revisiting similar challenges, but actually you're still climbing.
Yeah.
Just maybe on a different level of the staircase.
And what about plateaus? Those points where nothing seems to be changing despite effort? Those can be so discouraging.
Totally discouraging. And people often jump to, it's me, I'm broken. Or the medicine stopped working. Dan would gently push back. No, that's your body catching up. That's your metabolism asking for a little grace, a moment to stabilize. It's physiological recalibration. And he taught that when those old cravings or urges pop back up, which they might, it wasn't a sign of weakness returning. It was memory. Just an old neural pathway lighting up, basically asking, hey, do we still do this? Does this still matter? And the profound difference now with the space created is that you can actually answer that question differently. You have a choice.
So, wrapping our heads around this, if a setback isn't a failure, and it doesn't necessarily mean the medication isn't working, what is it then, in Dan's view? How should we look at it?
Fundamentally, it means the story you've been telling yourself, or maybe the old identity you were still holding on to, it just needs an update. It needs some rewriting. Semaglutide or whatever intervention can give you that physical space, that invaluable pause we talked about.
Yeah.
But Dan taught how to use that space effectively.
Right.
He taught how to narrate the setback differently. Not as a judgment, I failed again, but as a series of questions. What am I really feeling right now underneath this? What do I truly need in this moment? Who do I choose to become right here?
Hmm.
So if you, listening right now, are in the middle of what feels like a setback on your journey,
Hmm.
it doesn't automatically mean you're losing ground. It could very well mean you're learning something crucial.
Ultimately, then, what Dan Hollis was teaching is that this kind of deep healing, this transformation, it isn't flashy. It's not a big reveal. It's quiet. It's intentional work. It's that slow, steady layering of new choices, new thoughts, new internal systems, all built carefully during that kind of sacred window that interventions like semaglutide can open up. It's not really about becoming someone totally different.
No, exactly. It's about finally having the internal space, the quiet, the clarity to become truly authentically yourself.
So thinking about that, what old armor, and that could be habits, beliefs, ways you see yourself, what armor are you maybe ready to finally set down? Not because someone told you to, but because you've actually created the space, the inner quiet to feel comfortable without it. Something to think about.